Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my dear student of class 4. Welcome to all of you in our virtual classroom arranged by Samsullah Khan School and College. This is your science teacher, Muhammad Imtiaz Ahmed. Well, I hope you all are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. This is the beginning of the month February, and I'm going to discuss about the chapter 1 question answer of this part because already you have finished the discussion of this chapter. So right now I am going to discuss about all the question answer regarding this topic. So let's go start with this today's lecture. First of all, I am going to talk about all the short questions answer from this topic. In question number 1, it says, what is environment? The answer is, every different things and events around us is known as environment. That means whatever we see and whatever we can see that happens around us, all are the parts of environment. Question number 2, what do living things need to survive? The answer is, living things need food, habitat, shelter, water and air to survive. We all know that animals and plants all need food to survive, as well as water and air is important for them. But also we need habitat and shelter. Question number 3, what do plants need to make food? The answer is, plants need sunlight, water and carbon dioxide of air in order to survive. We all know that without sunlight, water and carbon dioxide, plants cannot make their food, and if they cannot make their food, they will not live or survive. In question number 4, from where do living things get all necessary things for survival? We know that the living things get all necessary things for their survival from the environment. That means you can see that all the living things like plants or animals, we get everything from the environment. We get food, we get habitat, we get water, we get air, we get the sunlight and also carbon dioxide or oxygen, whatever the plants and animals need. They all get everything from the environment. Question number 5, what is habitat? The answer is, habitat is a special place where plants grow and animals live in. That means animals like human being or the plants, you can see that we live in a special or a specific place. This place is known as habitat. Like as a human being, we live in a house. House is our habitat, and also some animals live in the forest. Forest is also their habitat. In question number 6, what is shelter? The answer is, a shelter is a place where animals can be safe. You can see that some animals like the chicken or the dog, they live in the house with the human being. This house is not only the shelter of a human being, also is a shelter of some animals, those who are domestic. In question number 7, what do animals need to digest food? The answer is, animals need water to digest food. You have seen that during the time when we eat something or the animals eat something, they need water, because with the help of this water, their food can be digested. Next, question number 7, what do animals, it's repeated already. We have to read from the 8. The question number 8, from where do plants get their energy? The answer is, plants get their energy from sunlight. That means through the sunlight, the plants can make their own food, and after getting that food, they can get their energy. That means the sunlight is the source of their main energy. Question number 9, from where do animals get their energy? Answer is, animals get their energy from other living things. As a human being or the other animals, you have seen that we normally eat as a food from the plants and also from the other animals. That's why the plants and other animals all are known as living things. So we as an animal, we get our energy from the living things. Question number 10. What is drought? The answer is drought is shortage of water in land. You have seen that during the dry season, the land become very wet, and that time we will not get any single drop of water if we cut down the land. This is known as the drought. Question number 11. What is flood? The answer is flood is the excessive flow of water. We have seen during the rainy season there is a lot of water flow from the rain or from the river, which can swept our roads and our houses under the water. This is known as the flood. In question number 12, what kinds of natural disaster may change the environment? The answer is natural disaster like drought, flood, storm, and earthquake change the environment. We have seen that during because of this drought, that means lack of water, because of flood, excess of water, because of storm, which is a natural disaster, and for earthquake, we have seen there is a lot of change in our environment. Question number 13. What is a predator? An animal that lives by killing and eating other animals. That means if you imagine yourself that you want to eat, that's why you catch the fish from the pond or river, you eat the chicken or the beef. That means you live by killing other animals. That's why we are known as the predator. Now I will talk about the descriptive questions answer. Here the first question says, how have humans changed the environment? The answer is, let me read it first, then I am going to discuss it. The human needs to utilize different resources of the environment for survival. Since our population has increased, more houses, hospitals and schools have been built. More trees have been cut down to be used as for fuel or building materials. More forests have been cleared to cultivate crops and build roads and factories. The environment has also been damaged by extraction of natural resources. In this way, humans have changed the environment. Well, here we have seen that because of our own need, we have changed the natural environment. Why? Because of the population increase, the increase of the population, we need more houses, more roads, more setups for our personal uses. That's why we build a lot of buildings. To make those buildings, to make those setups, we need to cut all the trees and we need to damage all the croplands for our building materials. Also, we cleared the forest to cultivate the crops because we need food, because a lot of people has increased. That's why we need more cultivation of crops, and we need more roads and factories. That's why we have finished all the forest. This is how the shortage of this natural part of this environment, we can create natural disaster. That's why the humans are contributing for the changing of this environment. In question number 2, what will happen to the green grasses if we put a brick on them some days, and why? The answer says, if we put a brick on the green grasses for some days, we will observe that their color has become white. This happens because the grasses under the brick receive no sunlight. Therefore, they fail to produce food for themselves. As a result, the green color turns white. Well, if you want to see it really, then you have to do it practically. You must put one kind of brick in a grass. Then after 3 or 4 days, you will see that the grass will convert it into white. Why? We know that grass is a kind of plant, and we know that with the help of sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide, grass can make their own food. But grass has a special characteristics that its body is fully green, because green, with the help of this green and the sunlight, they can make their food. But if you block the body of the grass with the help of brick, it will not get the sunlight. After not getting the sunlight, its greenery part will be damaged and it will convert into a white color. This is why we can see that if you put a brick on a grass, you will see the grass will convert into a white color. In question number 3, how living things are being harmed by environmental changes? The answer is environmental changes are harming the living beings in different ways. Natural disasters such as drought, flood, storm, etc. are not only destroying the habitats of humans, animals, and plants, but also damaging food production. Due to human activities like cutting down of trees and clearing the forest, birds and animals are losing shelter. The changes in the pattern of rainfall and temperature in different localities are also causing natural disaster, which are inflicting serious damages to human life in many ways and to the habitats of all living things. We can see that, as we discussed earlier, that the humans are making changes in the nature because for their own interest they are cutting down all the trees, they are clearing the forest, and because of these kind of trees and forest, the birds and animals are losing their shelter. Because of the shortage of this forest, the temperature is rising, and due to the temperature, the rainfall and the flood is happening very frequently. In this mismanagement of this environment creates the natural disaster like the drought, like the flood or the storm. They are destroying all the habitats of humans as well as animals and plants. This is how the living things are being harmed by environmental change. In question number 4, what are the difference between habitat and shelter? Well, the difference between habitat and shelter is given below. You can see there are two boxes, and in the left part all the characteristics are habitat, and the right part all the characteristics are shelter. In number 1 character, the habitat says all living things need habitat. We know the humans or the animals or the plants, they all need habitat. In shelter part, we can see only animals need shelter. That means we have seen in the definition what is shelter. Shelter is known as the safe place to live. So only animals need shelter, but the plants do not need the shelter. In characteristics number 2, habitat is created naturally. In characteristic number 2, in shelter, animals create shelter according to their need. That means if we look that a forest create naturally because a forest has a lot of trees and plants. Because of their own interest, because of their own facilities, they can create this forest naturally. But if you look at the house of a bird or look at the house of some other animal, they all are created by themselves. In characteristics number 3, habitat is a special place where plants grow and animals live. That means in this kind of place, all the plants can live and as well as the animals can live. But in shelter is a place that provides animals with protection from the other predators or bad weathers. That means here the other animals are living safely and all from the bad predators as well as from the bad weathers. So these were the difference between habitat and the shelter. Now we'll talk about the competency based questions. As you know, in class 3 you have seen that how the competency based question came to you. You have seen a single line stem, and then we have asked some different type of questions in a single question. What Well, if you see in the question number 1, you are watering your plants in the tub but not getting the sunlight. What do plants need to make food? What will happen if plants fail to get sunlight? Explain. That means in question number 1, there are two parts. The first part says what do plants need to make food, and the second part asks about what will happen if plants fail to get sunlight. So you have to answer in two different para, because every question has different answer. That's why in question number 1 you have to write down the first part in the first line and create a gap between them, and then start the second line. Let me explain. The first part says what do plants need to make food. We know that plants need sunlight, water and carbon dioxide of air in order to survive. That means they need sunlight, water and carbon dioxide. And the next question says what will happen if plants may fail to get sunlight. To answer that, we will give a single line gap between that para and we will start from that gap. The answer says we know that plants need sunlight, water and carbon dioxide to make their food. If they fail to get sunlight, they will not be able to make their food. Thus they will not grow older well and their color of leaves and stems will be yellow in color. That means, as you know, that the plants get their food by the help of sunlight, water and carbon dioxide. If they do not get the sunlight, they will not be able to make their own food. If they don't have that food, they will not grow well and gradually their color of leaves and stems will be yellow. So their greenery part will be damaged. In question number 2, different living things live in different environment. Human depends on environment for their survival. What is environment? Explain how the energy can pass from sun to human. Well, in this question also there are two parts. First part says what is environment and the second part says explain how the energy can pass from sun to human. So first we'll answer with what is environment. Every different things and events around us is known as environment. And after giving another gap between these two parts, we'll start from the gap. Now we'll give the explanation how the energy can pass from sun to human. Well, all living things need energy to survive and grow. Plants use the sunlight to make their own food. The food provides plants with energy they need. Plants get energy from the sunlight. Animals cannot make food by themselves. They must eat plants and other animals as food to get energy. Animals get energy from other living things. This is how energy can pass through sun to human. Let me clear you. We have seen that plants get the energy from food, and we know without sunlight the food cannot be made. That's why the plants get their energy from sun. And then we have seen that all the animals they get their food either from the other animal or from the other plants. Both of them are living things, but we are more directly or indirectly depends on plants. This is how the energy transfer from sun to the plants and then plants to the animals. Then as a human being we have food as we get food from the animals and plants as well. This is how the energy can pass from sun to human. In question number 3, living things need food, water, air for their survival. Is anything more needed for them? Write the importance of water and air for plants and animals. Well, there is also two parts. In first part it says is anything more needed for them, and the second part says write the importance of water and air for plants and animals. So we will answer them in a different way. In the first part, living things need food, water, air to survive, but they also need habitat and shelter to survive. That means food, water, and air is not sufficient for them. They need habitat and shelter to survive as well. In the next question, it says the importance of water and air, plants and animals. So first of all, we will write the importance of water and the air for plants, and then we will write the importance of water and air for the animals. In first part, we know that with the help of water, carbon dioxide and sunlight, plants can make their own food. They need this food to survive. So water and carbon dioxide of air is very important for them. So we can see that plants without water or air, they cannot live, they cannot make their own food. So if they cannot make their own food, they won't be able to live. The next is importance of water and air for animals. We know animals need food to survive, but having this food, they need water to digest. On the other hand, oxygen of air is very important for animals to breathe. So we can say water and oxygen of air is very important for animals. So here we have seen that all the animals drink water because of their digestion, and then they use the oxygen part of this air for their breathing. So both the water and air is very important for animals as well. In question number 4, we can see many changes in our environment for various reasons. Who is the most responsible for this change? Write 2 reasons of this change and also write the names of these 3 disasters which are taking place because of this change. Well, here we can see there are 3 parts of this question. First part says who is the most responsible for this change, and the second part says write 2 reasons of this change, and the third part says write the name of 3 disasters because of this change. The first part we will see human is the most responsible for this change in environment. That means the change of this environment can create naturally or man-made, and we have seen that directly or indirectly man are behind all this. That's why man is the most responsible for this kind of change in environment. Now we'll write 2 reasons of this kind of change. Number 1, we have seen that cleared the forest for land to cultivate crops or livestock for food. That means if you want to cultivate more lands and to livestock for food, we need to clear the forest. We have cutting down the trees to use as fuel for building materials. That means we cut down all the trees as a fuel or as building materials. Now 3 disasters, we are going to name 3 disasters, and they are: number 1 is flood, number 2 is drought, and number 3 is landslides. That means this name shows that the flood is caused because of the human beings, and the drought is caused by the human beings. Also the landslide is caused by the human beings. So these all were the question answer of this chapter. I hope you have understood what I have discussed here. If you don't understand, you have to watch this video again and again, so you will be able to clear. And after that, you have to memorize all the question and answer, and you must write down in your copies, and you must show your parents so that they can be confirmed that you have finished this chapter. So that was all for today, but I would like to tell you something, that you have to stay at home and stay safe, and if you have any kind of problem, you are feel free to contact us below. Thank you very much.